call the meeting for the Planning Commission to order for September 16th, 2021. Start with roll call, please.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Crompton?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Rusinellis?
Here.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Here.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, if there's no additions or corrections, I move the minutes be accepted as presented.
Okay. Second over there. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Rusinellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye. We got Jim.
Moving on through the agenda, first order of business is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, and staff and the Plan Commission do not generally respond to public comments. Please note, speakers who engage in conduct injurious to the harmony of the Plan Commission shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak. I just say also that when the cases come up, you'll have another opportunity to speak, but if there's anybody here that wants to speak at this time, they're welcome to. Not seeing any, we can move on to the next item on the agenda, old business for public hearing, and we have none. Under new business for public hearing, if you don't mind, I would just like to point out that P621, the revised preliminary plat of Mound Road Commercial Park subdivision, that item down the agenda has been requested to be tabled. And so if there's anybody here on that agenda item, it has been requested to be tabled by the petitioner, and I would prefer to take that now and get that out of the way if you're
Can I
okay
get a
with
motion
that.
to table this?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Rusinellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Okay, first item on the agenda then after that is, subject is A521, annexation of 6.651 acres located at Vetter Road, classification to ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning, and A621, annexation of 1.9 acres, part of 23525 and 23551 South Vetter Road, and the classification to ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning. Under general information, the applicant is City of Joliet. The status of the applicant, we are the property owners. Requested action, approval of annexation and classification to ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning. Purpose is to incorporate it into the City of Joliet for right-of-way use. Existing zoning, unincorporated Will County, A1 Agriculture. Proposed zoning is ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park. Location north of Millsdale Road, south of Schweitzer Road. Size is 8.551 acres, and this is approximately a half mile in length. Existing land use is undeveloped right-of-way. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is agricultural, ITC. To the south is industrial, ITC. To the east is agricultural, A1 unincorporated Will County. To the west is agricultural, A1 unincorporated Will County. Under site history, we have no previous cases for this particular location of properties. Special information, in anticipation of the Humboldt Road improvements and bridge over the Des Plaines River, Vetter Road, which runs south of Schweitzer Road, will also be widened and improved. Centerpoint acquired property along existing Vetter Road and dedicated it to the city in June 2021. Subject site property is currently in unincorporated Will County and needs to be annexed and zoned in Joliet to complete the widening project. The ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning district category most closely resembles potential uses of the surrounding area. There are no known development plans that are currently submitted for the surrounding area. Centerpoint is prepared to make the improvements to Vetter Road and will likely seek recapture from adjacent developers for some improvement costs. And that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Are there any comments or questions from the public? Comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, can I get a motion for approval on A-5-21, A-6-21? So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Roosnellis,
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich,
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Mr. Crompton.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
And this will go to City Council, October 19th.
Jen, fifth.
October 5th, sorry about that. Yes, this one is going to the earlier. Thanks, Karen.
October 6th?
5th?
Fifth.
5th.
5th, okay.
Next agenda item is A921, First Amendment to an Annexation Agreement for 7,000 Caton Farm Road, and Z421, reclassification of 3.31 acres located at 7,000 Caton Farm Road from RB Restricted Business to B1 Neighborhood Business Zoning. Under general information, the applicant, JJB Rentals LLC, the owner is Pravina Properties. Requested action, approval of an amendment to an annexation agreement and reclassification from RB Restricted Business to B1 Neighborhood Business Zoning. Under purpose, to allow the existing multi-tenant medical office building to be reused as a multi-tenant commercial building. Location is 7,000 Caton Farm Road. Size of parcel is 3.31 acres. Existing zoning is RB Restricted Business. Proposed zoning is B1 Neighborhood Business Zoning. Existing land use is vacant multi-tenant medical office building. Under surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is R2A, single-family residential, Mirage subdivision. To the south is R2. To the south, east, and west is all R2, and that's all Cumberland subdivision. Under site history, the 3.31 acre subject site was annexed and zoned RB restricted business, and an annexation agreement was approved in February of 2004. A 34,396 square foot multi-tenant office building was constructed at this site in 2006. The building was designed with internal access to the tenant spaces by way of 2 central corridors. The building currently has 7 separate fully built-out suites and 12,240 square feet of raw, unfinished space in the rear. Building has been vacant for 4 to 5 years. Previously, Pravina St. Joseph occupied the largest amount of tenant space. Under special information, JJB Rentals, the contract purchaser, seeks a zoning reclassification for this property in order to allow B1 neighborhood business uses in the existing vacant multi-tenant office building. JJB Rentals also seeks to amend the annexation agreement by removing the restrictions on permitted hours of operation for our future businesses. The agreement currently prohibits the building being open to the public from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. In order to attract retail and service type businesses, JJB Rentals proposes modifying the front facade of the building by adding direct access entry doors into the tenant spaces. Conceptual floor plan and elevations are attached. This time, no known users for the tenant spaces have been identified. Property has 227 parking spaces, with the majority located in front of the building and the remaining located along the perimeter of the lot. This amount of parking spaces exceeds the city's 1 space per 180 square feet of retail space requirement, which would amount to 192 spaces for a 34,396 square foot building. JJB Rentals invited residents and property owners that live within 600 feet of the subject property to a meeting that was held on August 30th, 2021 at the 7,000 Caton Farm Road building to review their plans for the building and property. 3 residents appeared. JJB Rentals reported that these 3 residents were supportive of the proposed zoning changes and redevelopment. And that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. We have a petitioner on hand, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, Michael Hanson, Kavanaugh Grumley Gorbold. I'm also here with with Nate Washburn of our firm. Jared Briscoe and Jason Briscoe are also here representing as principals of the property purchaser. We have nothing else to add to the staff report except for one thing, and that matter is this project will be built with union labor. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
Some of this is not finished inside?
Correct.
It looked like in the picture I've seen.
yes,
So they're gonna finish that, right?
correct.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Any questions, comments from the citizens? Can I get a motion for approval for A-9-21, Z-4?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Roosnellis.
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich.
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Mr. Crompton.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
So this will go to City Council October 19th with a recommendation for approval.
Okay.
Moving on through the agenda, the next subject is SN 121, street name change from Rock Run Crossings Drive to Gateway Boulevard. SN 221, street name change from Rock Run Crossings Court to Quartz Drive. Under general information, the applicant is Cullinan Joliet LLC. Status of applicant is the adjacent property owner and developer of Rock Run Crossings. Requested action is the street name changes. Purpose is to enhance marketing and provide better directional access to the future commercial center. Existing zoning is adjacent zoning, B2 Central Business, I1 Light Industrial, and Will County A1 Agriculture. Location is northeast of I-80 and I-55. Right-of-way size is approximately 4,000 linear feet. Existing land use is commercial collector streets. Surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is undeveloped commercial B2. To the south is undeveloped commercial A1 County. To the east is undeveloped commercial B2 and I1. To the west is undeveloped commercial B2. Under site history, a minor subdivision for Rock Run Crossings was approved by the City Council in September 2018. A dedication of the Rock Run Crossings right-of-way was approved by the City Council in June 2020. A development agreement, preliminary plat of subdivision, and zoning reclassification for 58 acres to I-1 was approved by the City Council in January 21. Final plat of Rock Run Crossing subdivision was approved by the Plan Commission at last month's meeting in August, and that will proceed to City Council with these two agenda items, second meeting in October. Under special information, Cullinan Properties is requesting that the street names Rock Run Crossings Drive and Rock Run Crossings Court be changed to Gateway Boulevard and Quartz Drive. You could see the attached roadway name change exhibit. At the request of the Illinois Department of Transportation, this was requested, IDOT, due to the length of the name Rock Run Crossings Drive and the problem of interstate signage with a long name like that. Both roadways are under the jurisdiction of the City of Joliet since their dedication in June of 2020. The remaining proposed streets, and again, you could see the attached roadway naming plan, would be dedicated as part of future subdivision plat recordings. There will be no adjacent property owners affected by this change, as Cullinan Properties owns or is under contract to buy all adjacent land. It should be noted that the Rock Run Crossings Drive name will be utilized on an adjacent future right-of-way in the commercial center to be recorded later. Interstate signage will not be necessary for this accessory roadway, and this concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand for this one? State your name, please.
Commissioners, Jim Teston, Development Manager for Cullinan Properties.
Okay.
Really, the planning director covered it very well. Just to clarify, these roads only really exist on paper. Our plan will be to start our roadway improvements next year. So really a fairly simple change in roadway name.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Any comments or questions from the citizens? Seeing none, can I get a motion for approval for SN 1-21, SN 2-21?
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Roosevelt?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
And as I said previously, this will go to City Council in October 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item, P721, the preliminary plat of 2504 Jefferson, a minor subdivision. Under general information, the applicant owners, Parth 39 LLC. Under requested action, approval of a preliminary plat for a minor subdivision. Under purpose, to create two-lot commercial subdivision. Existing zoning is B3 General Business. The location is 2504 West Jefferson Street. The size is 1.84 acres. Existing land use is commercial. Surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is commercial B3, to the south is commercial I1, to the east is commercial B3, to the west is commercial B3. Under site history, the area of this site was originally annexed and zoned B3 district in 1970. It was the site of the former Jefferson Square Mall and Wilderness Mall, which was demolished in 2005. The 1.84 acre subject site was included as Lot 8 in the Menards Joliet subdivision, which was approved and recorded in June 2003. The Murphy's Gas Express was built on the east side of Lot 8 in 2017. Special information, the preliminary plat for the proposed minor subdivision will create 2 commercial lots in the Menards Joliet Commercial Subdivision. The approval will allow the future construction of a Smoothie King established with a drive-through on Lot 1. Drive-through operation has been reviewed by the Joliet traffic engineer and has been previously approved by the city council. The Murphy's Express gas station will be contained on Lot 2. There should not be any negative impacts to the surrounding area due to the addition of this new proposal. The public improvements have been provided for as part of the previous commercial development. The future development of the Smoothie King facility will require payment of sewer and water connection fees and the development impact fee per city ordinance. Proposed building is proposing the use of face brick as the primary exterior material, and you can see the attached plans, which meets the requirements of the city's non-residential design standards. Landscaping as per city ordinance will also be required, and that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand for this? State your name, sir, please.
Good afternoon, Mark Landstrom from Landmark Engineering, representing the owner.
Okay. Do you have anything further you'd like to add?
No, it was very thorough, thank you.
Okay. Any comments or questions from any of the commissioners? Got one?
I got one quick question. Was that area of the original lot before they split it, looked like it was like a detention area, or am I incorrect? It looked kind of swaled low and there's some underground, or there's a drainage pipe?
Yeah, there's a collection point about the midpoint of the east line where storm sewers come together and Murphy dumps into, and then a big line goes out from there.
Okay,
We're not, proposing to change the big line at all.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Any comments or questions from the citizens? Seeing none, do I get a motion for approval for, B-7-21?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Crompton,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Roosevelt,
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
All right.
And this one will also go with recommendation for approval to the October 19th city council meeting. Moving on through the
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
agenda. Under old new business, not for final action or recommendation, we have none. Under 8, public comments, this section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, and staff and the plan commission do not generally respond to public comments. Please note, speakers who engage in conduct injurious to the harmony of the plan commission shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak. Would you like to speak, Kathy? It's not an agenda item. Did you miss your opportunity?
Yeah, I had 2 minutes late because of the traffic trying to
Okay.
get here because they tore up our road on Better Road, it's been tore up.
Ma'am, you have to come to the mic, we can't even hear you.
Been on the railway road.
You could come up. I think they'll entertain your comments. This is for the annexation on Vetter Road. She lives out there on Vetter Road. And so you know, they approved it, but it has to go to city council in October.
Then what is this approval supposed to be on, Jim? You know, is it like for them to annex the rest of Better Road to, like our properties where we didn't sell any to Center Point?
Not forcing
Just
anybody
for the
to annex.
properties that
This
they-
is only for the right-of-way that was already dedicated out in front of your property. This is not for anybody's private property that has not been
But
acquired.
because like I said, if it's on our property, now they want to take part of our land to do roadway widening, which it's already been done on the other side of the road. They already got their 4 concrete lanes in for that. But then, because of the fact it was for Center Point here, was this widening of Vetter Road was for, which is private, which means you can't do eminent domain, which means you can't be taking our property, in front of our property for roadway things, because we're private for Center Point. And now this is the way you guys are gonna then try to put it into Joliet, give it to the city of Joliet And then the city of Joliet then has right then to take our chunk of our land then. And then, you know, after everything's all done, and you give it back to Center Point then, like you guys did Patterson Road. You guys let Patterson Road, Center Point have Patterson Road to where we can't take Patterson Road all the way down from, you know, Center Point way, all the way down to Barrington Road and go by, you know, not have to go fighting traffic going down Learway Road. You let Center Point have Patterson Road down there all the way to Brandon down there, so we're forcing us to go on Learway Road. You know, I don't think this is right, you know, I mean, the city, okay, this is a Center Point's project, let it be Center Point's project, they already did a road widening, I mean, we don't need Joliet to be coming here now trying to do eminent domain on our property, on the west side of Vetter Road. You know, it's already bad enough, they put the plastic fencing up and already damaged the front of our properties. And I don't want no curbs, I don't want none of that stuff.
All right, man, we already passed it here, but you're welcome to go on October 5th, I believe this is going to the city council.
Oh, 5th, yes.
And, bring that in front of the city
It all
council.
starts here, you guys need to understand what you guys are doing to us. You guys don't value human life, I mean, our lives have already been greatly, jeopardized because of all this stuff. I have lost my mother, in case you guys don't know, because of all the noise from this industry and the stress on her. And my health ain't fair because there's noisy warehouses and noises from these warehouses. And they'll all be then soon to be having trucks go down our road 24/7. You guys is where it all starts. You guys need to stop that stuff.
Thank you, ma'am.
You know, this, guarantee you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You won't be in a lawsuit.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Lawsuits. No, you guys have a bad day.
Have a good day. What else you got, Jim?
If there's nobody else wanting to speak under public comments, we could move on to adjournment if you choose to do that.
Motion for adjournment, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nays, ayes have it. We're done. Damn, Jim, it's gonna be a